All right, so when we jump into the n8n platform, the first thing you'll see is this overview page. So you have a few key sections here. Your workflows, this is where you build your agents and automations out. Credentials, these are your connected apps and tools like your Gmail or your Google Drive or your CRM. Executions, this shows a history of all the workflow runs, all the workflow executions. So whether that be successful executions, whether it be any errors, this just shows you everything that's happening. And then on the left-hand side, you have your admin settings. You also have templates. So we click onto templates, recommend just having a little scroll through here. This will hopefully give you some inspiration on what to build out, or it might be a case of what you're looking to build out has been built out already. So to kick off, we're gonna just show you how to create an agent or create a workflow. So if we select create workflow, and then this will bring you to this blank canvas. And then the first thing we'll do is we'll add first step. So this is where you define your trigger, and a trigger is what starts or what kicks off the workflow. So in this case, let's use on the chat message. Hang on. Let me just go back here. So you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, we can actually start chatting with this module. So if I just say hello, so you'll see it's turned green. You'll see this green check mark, meaning that the module has successfully executed. Now from here, you want to select this plus icon. So this is to start adding more modules. Now you'll see that if you click on each of these, you have a ton of options. And so I recommend just jumping in, having a play around, see for yourself, to get a good idea of what's possible. But for this example, we're just going to click, we're just going to put in AI agent. So here we are, select AI agent. So if I go back out of this, we'll then want to select a chat model. So this is basically the brain of your agent. So if we select here, again, you have many different options here. And I'm just got it for this example. I'm going to click onto ChatGPT, but again, you can use Claude, or you can use DeepSeek and so on. But for this example, we're just going to use OpenAI. Now you'll need to connect your credentials. So if you select here, so you'll need to put in your API key. Now I've already done this. So what you would do is create new credentials. And then if you open these docs, n8n actually has just a step-by-step of how to set up your API key. So what you do is you go to your OpenAI account if you haven't one already set up. So this is the OpenAI playground. So you go in, log into that, set up your account, and then you'll create an API key. And essentially you'll just copy that API key and then go back to, and then you'll paste the API key in here. You can leave the base URL as is. And then what you do is just save. Now we go back out of this because we've already connected it up. So if I go to my account that I've already set my API key up on, and then you can see here the different models that you have. Now, again, look, there's loads of models that you can select from. And in terms of which model do you select, it depends. This constantly changes. So OpenAI are always coming out with the latest and greatest models. As of this time, what I would recommend is using the 4 mini. Where are we at now? Yeah, use the 4 mini. It's fast, it's cheap. Again, look, it's constantly updating. So at the time of watching this, again, there might be a latest version that's better to use. What I would recommend, if you're not sure, just go to something like Perplexity and type in which OpenAI ChatGPT model should I be using, and then kind of add in what you're looking for. Or what you can do is even just go to ChatGPT and say, ask me a list of questions, and depending on your answer, or depending on my answers, help me determine what AI model I should use for my agent. So if we go back out of this, so we've set up the model here. The next thing we'll want to do is set up the brain to our AI agent. So the memory. Now you're going to click add memory. You can add things like databases, for example, but in this case, I'm just going to add a simple memory for now. And then you see here your context window length. So I'm just going to keep this at 5. And what this means is the agent would remember your last 5 messages. So what you have now is essentially a very basic version of ChatGPT. So in here now, I'll go in and just chat. Hello, hello, all right, you. And I'll get a response that's tied to the memory. Sorry, my screen keeps cutting out. We'll just pause. Now, sorry about that. So you see the response that's generated here. And if you look at the logs, essentially how this works. So this will give you a breakdown of the workflow. So you'll see the input from the chat, and then that is processed through the memory. and then the output is sent back from the model. Now, this is a very basic example. As you can see, the green check marks, all the green check marks here. So that's all successfully been executed. The reason this is important is if you look back over the log, let's say, for example, you have errors within the workflow, you can go back, read through, and identify it. Now, if we click onto the AI agent, what we can do is we can add a system message. So the system message defines how the AI behaves. And so the default here is you are a helpful assistant, but you can change this around. So for example, you are a marketing expert whose role is to provide top performing caption ideas. In this case, I'm just going to say you are a helpful assistant, but I'm going to put in, please respond only using emojis. And then if I test this step, you'll see that the response that's given is in relation to the system prompt. Now we go back out of this, we can connect our tools. So tools are just a different, connect our tools. So tools are just the different solution systems that you have. Again, look, loads of options here. And so whether that be, it essentially allows your agent to, or your workflows to interact with these different tools. So whether that be pulling data in from your CRM or whether it be pushing data out to another system. So in this example, I'm going to keep it again nice and simple. So so I have my email hooked up already, but you would again just click here, create new credentials, and then just follow the documentation. So from here, let's say, for example, I want to receive an email anytime a new chat message comes in. I just have this workflow set up, email.com. so that I will get sent an email anytime a chat message comes in. So I'll need to input. So sorry, before I do, let me go back here and test this again. So hello, how are you? And you'll see it's giving me the emojis. So let me get back into here. And then what we can do is delete this. As I said, for this, anytime we receive a message, I want to get notified by email. So a new message received. And then what I can do is I can actually just take the message itself and put that in as a variable. So, and then I can put in, I then we received a new message here. It is very, very simple, but again, just showing you the functionality here. So you can set that up every time a new message comes in. Now I'll go through some more useful workflows, but again, this is just to give you more of a feel of the platform. So that's fine. Once we go back here, so the reason this is shown apart is because we've made a change. We'll need to now. I'll actually connect it up a correct email there. That's a fake email, but you would then run this again, and then that would run through. And if there's any errors, that would come up as red. And if it has successfully executed, everything would come up as green. You just go to your executions there to view the log. So that's, as I said, I'll go into some more useful examples. That's more to get a feel for the platform. As I said, recommend jumping in, having a play around with these features. And from here, you can just press save, so it doesn't save automatically. And then also what you can do is you can download. So essentially you can download this workflow that you've built out in a JSON format, meaning that you can share templates and so on, or you can essentially duplicate. Let's say you have a workflow and you want to build out another workflow that's slightly similar. You can duplicate that as well. So again, this is just high level, give you a view of the platform. Again, I'm going to go into some examples of and build out with you guys agents and workflows.